guys, it's Naseem here. Now before I start the video, I have one serious statement to make. The Pixel 6 Pro is still an amazing phone to buy in 2022, and let me tell you why. And I say this because the Pixel 6 Pro is a phone that didn't start off that well, but over time it has grown into the most well-polished phones in the market. The Pixel 6 Pro has an amazing software that is arguably smoother than most phones. It has a really good battery that can last you all day even with heavy use, and it's an all-around great phone that'll give you a premium Android experience. And the best part about the Pixel 6 Pro is that it comes at a cheaper price. Since the 7 Pro has come out, you can get the 6 Pro for around $700, which is not only cheaper than any comparable flagship, but it's also damn near as cheap as the Pixel 7, which means that you're getting a top tier flagship without having to break the bank. And there are many reasons why I would tell you guys that the Pixel 6 Pro is still one of the best phones in the market, but I wanted to share my experience so you can see how it holds up in everyday situations. Now starting with the design, the Pixel 6 Pro has the same look as the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, and it looks really good from the unique camera bar to the curved edges on the display, and I really appreciated how they use top tier materials that'll result in a really good looking device. The design is also really good, different, and reliable, and I really appreciated how Google made the phone look different to give themselves that signature look that'll make themselves very different from the competition. And again, the phone looks the exact same as the Pixel 7 Pro, from the power button and volume rockers all the way down to the speakers, USB-C port, and the back. But looking at its color, the version that I have is sort of sunny, and this is one of my favorite colors that's been released. It has the very shiny sides along with a glossy back that gives it that right amount of depth and results in a really good looking device. Now looking at the display, the Pixel 6 Pro has a 6.7 inch LTPO AMOLED display that, just like the Pixel 7 Pro, was really good. Whenever I was scrolling through my phone, it looked very nice. Everything looked good, the responsiveness was very precise, and I had no complaints about the overall feel. I really liked how it felt great while also still being a pretty cheap phone. Now the 6 Pro has a 120Hz refresh rate. Scrolling through the OS and different apps felt as smooth as ever, and I was really happy that it was able to keep up after a couple months of use. Now the display can also drop to a lower refresh rate, preferably 60Hz, whenever it needs to preserve battery life. So if you're someone who wants that extra battery life and doesn't really care about having that 120Hz refresh rate, the 6 Pro does have that capability. Now something else that I liked about the 6 Pro's display is that the bezels are pretty small. Right here you can see that they're wrapped nicely around the screen and are much cleaner overall. The hole punch camera is also very nice, so it won't bother you whenever you're using your phone. And now when it comes to brightness, the 6 Pro is at 777 nits, which is not that great, but when it comes to this price at this moment, it's nothing to complain about. Whenever I'm using my phone outside, no matter how much the sun was shining, I would still have a little bit of trouble seeing, but again, that's only in extreme cases. Now when it comes to the size of the 6 Pro, I can't say whether or not you will love it or hate it, but what I do want to do is list some pros and cons that you can look out for. Now the pros of having a big screen is that the viewing experience is much better, the battery is bigger so it'll be able to last longer, and bigger phones tend to have slightly better resolution. And now the cons of having a big screen is that it makes it much harder to use it with one hand. Trying to simply reach the top of the screen requires more work, and you'll need some pretty big pockets if you want to store your phone. But again, I want to let you guys outweigh the pros and cons because everyone's needs are different. Now the responsiveness still holds up well after a year of use, but something that I noticed is that the phone would get hot more often and became a little bit more unresponsive, and this only happened when it was really hot outside, even when I was in the shade. Now the resolution and viewing experience of the Pixel 6 Pro's display is an amazing benefit when it comes to actually using the device. I was able to see everything very clearly when watching videos. Playing games on it was as fun as ever, and I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it will look like when you watch something and play a game. Now the Pixel 6 Pro has a 5000 mAh battery, which is really great when compared to other smartphones in the market. But when it comes to actual use, I would say that Pixel software is so advanced that it takes up even more battery than it should. And mind you, I'm the type of person that is usually on my phone all day doing things like writing scripts, playing B-roll, shooting videos, scrolling through social media, watching YouTube videos, and texting my friends. And usually I'm getting over 6 to 7 hours of on-screen time a day, and I charge my phone around twice a day, right before I go to bed, and one full charge on my portable charger. And most of the time I did use it to the max, so if you do get the Pixel 6 Pro, having a portable charger will also help you very much. And if I could give a quick estimate, I would say my battery is usually on 40% by the end of the day, but also I'm getting help from my portable charger, so I would say my phone would die around like 4 p.m. And again, this is assuming that I start my day around like 6 a.m. And now the last thing that I wanted to touch on when it comes to the battery is the charging. Now my phone will be able to charge from 0 to 100% in a little over an hour, and I think that that's a little too slow for the battery that you're getting. But again, it also gave me 6 to 7 hours of on-screen time a day, but it's not too bad. Now looking at software, the 6 Pro supports Android 13, and just like any other Android, you have the app drawer that holds and categorizes all your apps. You have the new wallpaper system that is a huge upgrade and feels much smoother on this phone, and you have many more minor things that makes the phone feel even sleeker. And if I'm being honest, I felt the sleekness all the way through. Pixel phones are typically very smooth when it comes to optimizing software, so I'm not shocked at all when I say that this phone does a really great job when it comes to handling Android 13. The software was very smooth and worked very well. It felt just like any other top tier phone, and I feel like you guys will realize that in terms of software, it's really not that much different from newer devices. I also decided to test out some games on the 6 Pro. I play one of the heavier games that I have that can really test out the chip, and as you can see, it held up very well, and I didn't get any lags while playing. The haptics weren't that great if I'm being honest. Just like the Pixel 6a, there were many times where I would have my phone on vibrate but would miss out on some messages because I couldn't hear it. So overall, I would say that they're a downgrade, and the 7 Pro was better in this category. And now the final thing that I wanted to note is that the 6 Pro does get 5 years worth of software upgrades, but right now it's at 4. So when it comes to longevity, it's definitely got you covered. Now just like the 7 Pro, the 6 Pro has some really loud speakers that were pretty good whenever I used them. I would usually use them in the house whenever watching videos on social media or YouTube, and I didn't really have to turn it all the way up because it was pretty loud on the lower tiers of volume. I also tested out how they sounded when playing music, and if I'm being honest, they're loud, but just like most phones, the quality isn't the greatest when the volume goes all the way up. I also tested out the 6 Pro as my alarm, and I had no problem waking up to it. I didn't really have to set multiple alarms, and I didn't really have to worry too much about receiving important notifications whenever I turned on my ringer. And right here, I'm going to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound. Now the Pixel 6 Pro has a 50 megapixel main camera along with a 48 megapixel telephoto and 12 megapixel ultra wide, and based on my usage since last year, I would definitely say that the pictures look amazing. Now starting with the zoom modes, the 6 Pro has a lot of different zoom modes, and of course the quality gets dumbed down a bit once you get closer, but I found every picture in each zoom mode to be great when compared to other smartphones. The shutter speed was very good from the start. I decided to test this out by shooting moving cars, and as you can see, the camera was able to capture most cars beautifully no matter how fast they were going, so I was pretty satisfied. Next up, I want to show you guys how the camera performed in different environments, and the first environment that I will be starting with is daytime. Now looking at the outside photos, we can see that it has a really great shadow of depth whenever I'm taking pictures, along with a nice blur, and this is to the max once I use the portrait mode on the phone. And when it comes to selfies, Pixel has always done a great job. I also took some photos of random street objects, the sky, different aspects of nature, and I can honestly say that the Pixel 6 Pro held up very well in these environments, so I'm really impressed. And now in the tougher settings, I would pretty much say that everything looked good. The only complaint that I did have is the shutter speed when the lighting isn't that great. And now taking a look at inside photos, the 6 Pro was able to capture everything very nice, and I found the pictures to be slightly more detailed than the Pixel 5 in terms of sharpness. And when taking selfies, you can see how the camera already handles good lighting to produce an overall nicely taken photo. My skin tone looked really good, and the sharpness was at its peak. Now when it comes to shooting video, the 6 Pro is easily one of the best phones that you can buy. Even though it's over a year old, you have many different modes and frame rates to choose from, but I prefer to shoot my videos in 4K at 30 frames per second because not only does it look good in 4K, but the 30 frames makes it look smooth, but not too smooth like 60 frames would. Now the video stabilization was out of this world. I shoot my videos with my phone, so whenever I'm shooting my subject, I can use everything handheld and the movements will be very smooth, which was pretty impressive. And for fun, I decided to test out the stabilization to the max. And if I'm being honest, it was insanely good, so you'll be fine with this phone's regular stabilization. So all in all, I would definitely say that the Pixel 6 Pro has an amazing video camera that'll give you very consistently good shots. So if you're someone who wants to shoot content or you just want a solid camera, the 6 Pro has got you covered. Also, here are some extra videos that I was able to get.
Let me get a high pass. Throw it higher. Throw it higher. Yeah.
I might run a rope. Want me to run a rope?
Yeah. Hit it. Oh, come to me. Yeah, juke the camera.
Like this? Oh, come on. You gotta be quicker than that.
So here's the final question. Is the Pixel 6 Pro a good phone to buy in 2022? Well, it's a really good phone, and I think that it's 100% worth it. The Pixel 6 Pro has almost everything that the 7 Pro has, from the software to the display to the features, all the way down to the look. So you're basically getting a Pixel 7 Pro for a much cheaper price. And if you are someone who does prefer the Pixel 6 Pro, it's definitely a phone that you'll be satisfied with. And again, it's much cheaper than most flagships, and you'll pretty much get the same benefits, so it's definitely worth it. But there it is, my review on the Pixel 6 Pro. And also, if you guys have any extra questions for me, you can comment down below and I'll answer it. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.